You won't believe what happened to a rugby player when he tried to knock down a Royal Guardsman. In a small American town, lost among endless fields and hills, rugby has become a real passion for the locals. Every weekend, the stadium was filled with spectators who were looking forward to the next match of the Northern Hawks team. This team was the pride of the city, and its successes brought people together, creating an atmosphere of unity and support. Among the players, one stood out: Jason. With his physical strength and charisma, he was not only the star of the team, but also an idol for many teenagers in the neighborhood. Since childhood, Jason has dreamed of becoming a professional athlete. He was always an active child who loved sports, and his father, a former rugby player, became his first coach. Every evening they spent time in the backyard, honing their ball passing and throwing skills. Jason was also known for his kind heart. He often helped the younger players on the team by teaching them the basics of the game and keeping them confident. His mother was proud of him and was always in the stands, cheering on her son in every match. She believed in his dream of becoming a professional rugby player, and it gave Jason strength. Every Saturday, he gathered with friends at the local stadium, where training took place. He felt alive here. The sounds of the ball hitting the ground and the shouts of support created a unique atmosphere. In those moments, Jason forgot about all his worries and just enjoyed the game. Chapter 2. An important match. One day, a few days before the decisive match of the season, Jason felt excitement. The Northern Hawks team was supposed to face their longtime rivals, the Southern Tigers. This match promised to be not only intense, but also full of emotions. The training sessions were intense, and each player understood that this was their chance for glory. A few days before the match, Jason noticed that his teammates were also feeling the tension. They gathered in the locker room, discussing strategies and tactics of the game. The team's coach, an old and experienced mentor named Bob, often emphasized the importance of teamwork. "We have to work as a whole. Only together can we win," he spoke enthusiastically. On the day of the match, the stadium was crowded. The audience cheered and supported their pets. There was a delegation of British guests in the stands, including a royal security guard named Michael. His task was to ensure the safety of the delegation, and he was dressed in a strict uniform that emphasized his impressive height and physical fitness. When the match started, the atmosphere was tense to the limit. Jason played with full dedication. He deftly maneuvered between the opposing defenders, scored points, and raised the spirit of his team. At some point, fired up by the game and the support of the audience, he noticed Michael's security guard on the podium. "This guy looks like a real fighter," Jason thought, watching Michael closely watching the game. He decided to do something unusual. "What if I show my strength to this guard? It's going to be cool." With that thought, he accelerated and rushed towards the stands, intending to knock the guard down. Chapter 3. The wrong decision. Michael was attentive and focused on his work. When Jason approached him at full speed, the guard instantly assessed the situation. He easily dodged Jason's attack, which caused him to lose his balance and fall to the ground with a thud. The crowd froze in anticipation. No one could believe their eyes should come. Jason, the star of the team, ended up on the ground after an unsuccessful prank. The guard approached him with a serious expression on his face. "Are you okay?" Michael asked, extending a helping hand. Jason, still shocked by his act, started laughing. "Yeah, that wasn't very smart," he admitted, getting to his feet. But the laughter quickly disappeared when he saw the displeased faces of his teammates in the audience. Soon, the police arrived at the stadium. It turned out that the guard Michael had a diplomatic status and could call law enforcement agencies in case of a security threat. Jason felt his heart start to pound. He knew that his joke had backfired on him. The police began to understand the situation. Jason tried to explain his actions, but it only made the situation worse. He was arrested for assaulting a security guard, even though it was just a joke. After the incident, Jason found himself in the spotlight not only of his town, but of the entire country. News of his attack on the Royal Guard spread quickly. Local newspapers wrote about how the rugby star found himself in an unpleasant situation because of his thoughtless joke. He had to go through legal proceedings. At the trial, he faced many questions about his motives and actions. Despite the support of friends and family, Jason understood that his reputation had suffered. The court issued a fine for the attack. Although the amount was insignificant for a professional athlete, the consequences were much more serious. He was threatened with disqualification from the game for several months. Jason's friends tried to support him mentally. They gathered at his house in the evenings and discussed the situation. One of his best friends, Mark, said, "Don't worry, Jason. We all make mistakes. The main thing is to learn from them." But even such words of encouragement could not make up for the feeling of shame and disappointment that plagued Jason. He understood that his rash actions could destroy all his dreams of a rugby career. Chapter 5. Life Lessons. After the trial, Jason returned home feeling ashamed and disappointed. He understood that his actions were inappropriate and could have serious consequences, not only for himself, but also for his team. As time passed, Jason began to realize the importance of respecting other people, regardless of their status or profession. He began volunteering at a local rugby school, teaching children not only sports skills, but also the importance of respect and honesty in the game. Every Saturday, he held training sessions for young rugby players. These classes helped him to distract himself from negative thoughts about the trial and its consequences. The children enthusiastically listened to his advice and tried to repeat his movements on the field. One day, during a training session, a little boy named Tommy approached them. "Why are you so worried? What is it?" he asked with genuine interest. Jason smiled. "I made a mistake, but now I'm learning to be better." The boy nodded. "Everyone makes mistakes. The main thing is not to give up." These words inspired Jason to continue his work with children. He understood that he could become an example for the younger generation and teach them important life lessons. Chapter 6. Restoring Reputation. A few months after the incident, Jason got the opportunity to return to the team. The coach gathered the players and announced Jason's return to the squad. Everyone supported his decision. They knew that he had learned his lesson and become a better person. Jason felt excited and nervous at the same time. He understood that he had to prove to everyone, to himself and his team, that he had changed for the better. He started training with a vengeance and tried to be a leader on the field. Every day, he came to training before the rest of the players to practice his skills and help the newcomers adapt to the team. His efforts began to bear fruit. The team became more cohesive and the training results improved. However, the old memories of the trial still haunted him. Some spectators at matches whispered about his past actions. He had to face the distrust of some fans. But he didn't give up. He knew he had to keep working on himself. Chapter 7. A New Challenge. During one of the matches of the Northern Hawks against the Southern Tigers, the situation escalated to the limit. It was a rematch after the incident with Michael. Jason felt the pressure like never before. He needed to prove his worth to everyone as a player. The match started tensely. Both teams fought for every yard of ground. Jason played with full dedication. He scored points and lifted the spirit of his team. But at some point, he noticed Michael among the audience. Remembering that incident, Jason felt a surge of emotion. He understood that he had to show everyone not only his physical abilities on the field, but also his maturity as a person. By the end of the match, the score was equal 20-20. The last minutes of the game were tense. Each team was looking for an opportunity to get ahead. At that moment, Jason made a decision, had to take responsibility for the outcome of the game. Gathering all his strength, he ran past the opposing defenders and made the decisive throw of the ball to the scoring zone of the Southern Tigers. The crowd exploded with joy. His team had won. After the match, Jason approached Michael on the podium. "Thank you for what you did for me," he said sincerely. "I've learned a lot from this incident." Michael smiled. "We all make mistakes. The main thing is to learn from them." They shook hands. In this gesture, there was a new friendship and mutual respect. Jason felt relieved and happy. He understood that this moment had become a symbol of his growth as a person and an athlete. Chapter 9. New Horizons. After the end of the season, Jason decided to pursue a career in rugby at a higher level. He signed a contract with a professional team and soon became one of the most famous players in the country. However, he never forgot the lesson he had learned from the incident with Michael. He continued to volunteer and teach young people important life values, respect for others, and responsibility for their actions. Several years have passed, but the bond between Jason and Michael has remained strong. They became good friends and often met at rugby matches. One day, during a charity event, Jason invited Michael to speak to young people. "You have become an example for many," he told the guard in front of the gathered children. Michael told his story about how important it is to remain calm in difficult situations and respect other people, regardless of their status or profession. Chapter 10. Conclusion. Jason's story became an example for many people. It reminded them of the importance of learning from their mistakes and growing as a person. Rugby remained his passion, but now he knew that real strength lay not only in physical abilities, but also in respect for other people. And although life sometimes throws difficulties and trials at us, it is important to remember that each of us is capable of changing our destiny for the better. Jason continued his rugby career with new goals and ambitions. He knew that there were many new challenges ahead of him. However, now he was ready for them with confidence and wisdom. Every time he went on the field, he remembered his lessons from the past that day at the stadium with guard Michael, which was a turning point in his life. The audience was back in the stands. They supported their team with the same passion and energy as before. And among them was Michael, Jason's loyal friend, who was always ready to support him in difficult times. Now they both knew that real strength lies not only in winning on the field or being a player, it lies in the ability to learn from your mistakes and move forward with those people who believe in you. Chapter 11. Memories. It had been several years since the incident at the stadium, but the memories of that event remained fresh in Jason's mind. He often recalled that moment as a turning point in his life, the moment he realized that even the most harmless jokes can have serious consequences. His life changed after that incident. Now he has become more careful in his actions and statements. Every morning before training, he spent time thinking about how to become a better player, not only physically, but also mentally. He started writing a diary of his thoughts and experiences. It became a kind of therapy for him. In it, he wrote down his goals for future matches, thoughts on how to help other players become better, and the life lessons he had learned from his experience. One day, during one of the training sessions, he noticed a new player, a young guy named Alex. Alex was full of energy and eagerness to learn. However, he had problems with self-confidence. Every time after practice, Jason would come up to him. "Don't worry, we were all the same once," he told Alex with a kind smile. Alex looked at him with admiration. "Do you really think so?" "Of course. The main thing is to believe in yourself," Jason replied. Chapter 12. Team support. Over time, Alex began to make progress. He began to show excellent results in training, thanks to the support of Jason and other team players. Jason felt proud of his new friend. He understood that he was able to help someone else avoid the mistakes he had made himself. At one of the team meetings, Bob said, "I see the progress of all of you, but I especially want to mention Alex. You did well." The team applauded the new player. It was an important recognition for him. Jason understood the importance of support within the team. This is what helped him rebuild his reputation after the incident with Michael. Now he wanted to pass on this experience to other young players. Together with the team, they started conducting outdoor training sessions for children from the local rugby school. It was a great time for everyone. The children got the opportunity to learn from the best players in the city, and the team strengthened its ties with the community. When it came time for the final match of the season against the Southern Tigers, the atmosphere heated up to the limit again. This time, everyone was ready to win. The team worked as a whole thanks to the efforts of each player. The match started great for the Northern Hawks. Jason scored the first goal a few minutes after the referee's whistle. The stands exploded with joy. He felt the support of everyone around him. It was an incredible feeling of unity. However, the game soon took an unexpected turn. One of the Southern Tigers players was injured during a collision with a defender of Jason's team. The game was stopped. Everyone gathered around the injured player. Jason thought back to his previous mistakes. That moment in the stands with guard Michael. He knew the importance of respecting his opponents, regardless of the situation on the field. Instead of rejoicing at the opponent's injury or gloating over the situation, he approached him. "Everything will be fine," he told him in a kind voice. The injured player looked at him with gratitude. It was an important reminder that sport is not only a competition for victory, but also a show of respect for other people. Chapter 14. The end of the season. The match continued. The game was intense until the very end. Finally, the final whistle sounded. The Northern Hawks won. The team jumped for joy. They joined in a circle on the field and began to celebrate their success. Jason felt incredibly proud of his team. They had overcome many difficulties together, and now they could enjoy the fruits of their efforts. After the match, Bob gathered the team for the final speech. "You did an incredible job. I am proud of each of you. We not only became champions, we became real friends." Jason knew that this victory was the result of the work of the whole team. Everyone contributed to the overall success. Chapter 15. A New Stage. With the end of the season, it's time for new challenges for all the team's players. Some of them have received offers from professional clubs across the country. It was especially exciting for Jason. Now he had the opportunity to pursue a career at a higher level. He signed a contract with the Professional Horizon team, which played in the country's top league. It was a big step forward for him. However, he also felt nostalgic for his hometown and the Northern Hawks team. Before leaving, Jason organized a farewell match for all his friends from the team. It was a touching event for all the participants. A crowd of spectators came to support them. They remembered all those moments of joy and bitterness with the team. At the farewell ceremony, Bob said, "You will always be a part of our family. We are proud of you." Jason left his hometown with hope for the future. He knew that new challenges and opportunities for growth were ahead of him as a person and an athlete. Chapter 16. The New City. When Jason moved to a new city to play for the Horizon team, he faced many new challenges, new coaches, new teammates, and a completely different atmosphere of the Major League game. The first day of training was intense. All the players were focused on their tasks and tried to impress the coaches. However, in the midst of all this fuss, Jason managed to find time to chat with his new teammates. He noticed one young player named Danny. He looked scared among all the experienced athletes around him. Jason remembered his own fears about starting a new career. Therefore, he decided to approach Danny. "Hey, don't worry. We are all here to learn," he told him in a kind voice. Danny looked at him with gratitude. "Thank you. I'm just worried." "It's okay. The main thing is to believe in yourself," Jason replied with a smile. Chapter 17. Problems of Adaptation. Despite the support from his new teammates, Jason found it difficult to adapt to the new level of competition. The games were faster and more intense. Each match required full concentration from the players. Once, during an important match against one of the strongest opponents, the team lost 10-0 by halftime. The coach gathered the players in the locker room. "We can do this! Don't give up hope!" he shouted to them enthusiastically. However, Jason felt confused inside. It seemed difficult for him to cope with the pressure of the major leagues after so many expectations from him as a new Horizon player. At that moment, he remembered the words of his friend Mark. "Don't worry. We all make mistakes." This gave him confidence. In the second half, the team came together and started fighting for victory. Jason scored an important goal in the second half. It inspired the whole team. In the end, they were able to even the score to 10-10. Gradually, Jason managed to adapt to a new level of play. Each match brought new lessons and an opportunity to become a better player. He started to show excellent results thanks to hard training and the support of his teammates. The Horizon team has become one of the best teams in the league thanks to the efforts of every player. They have reached the championship finals. The atmosphere at the final match was incredible. Thousands of spectators came to support their favorite teams. For Jason, it was a chance to show everyone his abilities at the highest level of sports. The match started tensely. Both teams were fighting for every yard of ground. However, thanks to the cohesion of the Horizon team, they managed to score the first goal. The crowd exploded with joy. It was a moment of triumph for the whole team. Chapter 19. The Path to Victory. Throughout the match, the team played a great game. Each player gave his best for the sake of a common goal. In the end, the score was 25-20 in favor of Horizon. It was their first victory in the championship. After the final whistle, the team joined together in a circle on the field. They happily jumped on each other's necks. It was an incredible feeling of unity. Jason felt proud of his team. Each of them contributed to the overall success. At the award ceremony, Bob called him, "I'm proud of you. You've shown everyone your strength." It was an important recognition for Jason. He knew that all his efforts had paid off. Chapter 20. A New Stage of Life. After a successful season, Jason continued to develop his career in rugby. Now he had new goals to become the captain of the team. He understood the importance of leadership within the group. Therefore, he began to work even harder on himself. Every day he spent time in training not only for himself, but for his team. Over time, he managed to gain the trust of his teammates. They started asking him for advice during the games. Once, during an important match against a strong opponent, the team lost again with a score of 15-0 by halftime. However, instead of panicking or losing hope, Jason gathered everyone together. "We can do this! The main thing is to believe in each other," he told them confidently. It inspired the whole team. In the second half, they were able to equalize the score to 15-15 thanks to a cohesive game. Chapter 21. Leadership. Gradually, the team began to understand the importance of teamwork under Jason's leadership. They began to show excellent results thanks to each other's mutual support. At the end of the season, the team reached the championship finals again. The atmosphere was incredible. Thousands of spectators came to support them. In the final match against the old opponent, the team showed a great performance thanks to the efforts of each player. They won with a score of 30-25. It was a triumphant end to the season for the whole team. After the final whistle, they joined together to celebrate their success. Jason felt incredibly proud of his team. They had become real friends this season. Chapter 22. Opening a new path. After the successful completion of the season, it's time for new challenges. Now Jason has thoughts about the future. He understood the importance of developing as a player, but he also wanted to leave a mark behind. He started holding workshops for young people all over the city to share his knowledge about sports. It became an important part of his life. Every Saturday, he gathered with the children to teach them the basics of rugby and the importance of honesty and respect for each other. One day, during one of these master classes, a little girl named Lena approached him. "Do you really think that I can become as good as you?" "What is it?" she asked hopefully. Jason smiled at her. "Of course, the main thing is to believe in yourself." These words inspired the girl to continue playing sports no matter what. Chapter 23. Labor recognition. Over time, Jason's work began to bear fruit. Many children began to show excellent results, thanks to the training they received from him. His efforts were noticed by local media, who started writing articles about how important youth work is for the development of sports. Jason became known not only as a successful player, but also as a mentor for the younger generation. It was an important recognition for him. One day, during an interview, a journalist asked him, "What is the most important thing for you right now?" Jason answered without hesitation, "Helping others achieve their goals." These words became the motto of his whole life. It had been several years since the incident with Michael, but the memories of that event remained fresh in Jason's mind. One day, during a charity event organized to support youth sports, he managed to meet the guard again. Michael came to support the children who participated in the event. When they saw each other, they both smiled. "How are you?" Michael asked, holding out his hand. "Everything is fine. Thank you for what you did back then," replied Jason sincerely. They discussed their lives in recent years and shared each other's experiences. It was a touching meeting between two people who became friends no matter what. Chapter 25. Conclusion. Jason's story became an example for many people. It reminded them of the importance of learning from their mistakes, growing as a person, and helping others achieve their goals. Rugby remained his passion, but now he knew that real strength lies not only in physical abilities, but also in respect for each other. Every time he entered the field, he remembered the lessons of the past about the day when he had to face his mistakes, and how important it was to help others grow. Now life went on in full swing. There were new challenges ahead, new opportunities, and a new friendship that made him stronger than ever before.